Alright, Sarah's going to demonstrate on this one. We're going to do the inner thigh. So all your adductors. The quad I was talking about is pretty brutal. This is probably the most sensitive of the leg, just because it's such a soft kind of tissue. You see Sarah's demonstrating. This is kind of the baby way of easing into it, and I would urge everybody to use caution when jumping into the inner thigh muscles. So here she's basically just using body weight without all of her body weight and resting half of it off of the roller and then just using it to kind of work different areas. And then you'll see, like when you change here, you can kind of roll it a little bit, or you can kind of pick your leg up and choose a different spot. So see Sarah just picks it up and sets it back down so it's not excruciating if you find this to be really tender. And then we'll show this is the progression of it, so the more advanced way of doing it. Now I find I like this one better than starting the other way, just for me, because I'll lay all the way down, so basically, and just kind of let it rest, and I try and forget about it. So you rest here, and the inner thighs, you want to be careful as you get down. You know, as you move them, be very careful how you roll. As you move to a new spot, sometimes, like I said, it's better in a lot of ways to pick your leg up off of it, and then just kind of rest it and find out like how tender that next spot is going to be. You'll get points where you'll feel like it's kind of going to explode, like down towards the knee, if you just keep shoving it into the knee. So be careful how quickly you do any kind of motions here. And like I said, just picking it up would probably be my best recommendation. The inner thighs are kind of hard to get into in a way. So a lot of times what I'll do is basically I'll kind of squeeze the muscle and try and flex it a little bit where the area is, just so it kind of pulls everything to the surface and makes it a little bit easier to get into it. Otherwise, you'll feel like you just sit there and bruise the area a lot of times. It doesn't really feel like you're actually getting anything to release. The inner thighs, you kind of just bounce back and forth like Sarah's doing here. It's just because it is such a tender area, so you don't spend as much time on each spot that you do on other parts of the leg or the other, other parts of the body. You want to kind of like go to them, raise up, move to another spot, like every 30 seconds or so, and then just popping it back and forth and kind of revisit other spots that you hit earlier on. I like to do this for, I don't know, anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes at a time. Just because you are bouncing around, so you want to spend maybe a longer amount of time on it, but just not as much time each time you sit on a spot. And after that, we'll have all the videos of how to stretch this area and everything, but this is a very crucial area for women and guys. It's an area that I feel is lacking and people don't strengthen very well. And a lot of times it's because they just allow so much tension to be in the outside of their leg that this side of the leg gets neglected and it just stays weak. So what you want to do is focus, like we were doing, on the quads and the hip, on the side of the leg, and then relieving tension there, and then adding some strength to your inner thighs. There's plenty of different exercises you can do to strengthen your inner thighs, and it'll really help in taking pressure off your hips, your pelvis, keeping it aligned, and anything from that to it's a big contributor in a lot of knee pain, just because it is weak and people don't strengthen it, so they push themselves in another exercise or explosive exercise. And then that muscle, a lot of times ends up being the muscle that gets beat up the most. So focus on strengthening this after you've rolled it out, and keep rolling the outside of your legs, and then just follow the stretches, guys.